Hi everyone, welcome to 2SecondsWatch channel. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing of the Rolex Submariner 114060. So let's do the unboxing. So there it is, the most iconic Rolex Submariner, one of the most iconic watches in the entire lineup of Rolex and in the watch world. The 114060 in black, and one of the hardest pieces to get from the AD in the Rolex catalog. So here we have the Rolex watch. I'm gonna show you, comes with a hand tag over here, okay, and of course it shows the model number and everything. Let's have a look at what's in the box before we go to the watch. Yeah, you can see here's what the box has a little flap over here, shows you the manual, and of course the warranty card as well, the Oyster Petrol Submariner date. The modern Rolexes have very beautiful manual, model number over here. This is their guarantee card, as well as the year and the purchase date. Guarantee manual. Notice there's even a nice indentation over here in the box for you to put your manuals and things. And just close it up. So let's get back to the watch. So here we have it, the Rolex Submariner, the most iconic, the most classic of the Rolex pieces, and probably one of the hardest ones, if not the hardest Rolex model that you can get in your authorized distributor or your AD. I'm gonna wind it up over here. So let's talk about the Rolex case. Of course, I have another video comparing the Rolex Submariner with the Rolex Yachtmaster. If you click up here, you should be able to watch that video, and where I go in detail and in depth of why I find that the Yachtmaster is the Rolex Submariner 2.0, and just compare them side by side as well. So I'm going to talk about the watch right now. Let's just wind it up a little. So of course we all know that this comes with the Rolex 3135 movement. Oh wait, it shouldn't be the 3135 movement because this one doesn't have the date, which is the same as the date just, but it is the Rolex caliber, which is very similar to the 3135 movement. I'm going to put the specs right over there so you can see the movement details. It winds exactly the same way, very extremely smooth, but just with a bit of resistance over there. So of course it has hacking seconds as well for you to adjust the time, and yeah, pretty much that's it, you know, with a screw-in crown and screw-down crown. So let's talk about the watch. I want to talk about the watch now. So let's talk about the watch. So the Rolex Submariner, as you can see here, is a very beautiful piece. They have so many iterations. I'm not going to go through it in this video, but I'm going to focus more on this current generation. And I think what I would comment on this generation would also apply partially to the newer generation, which has been launched in the late 2020s, where they changed it from the super size or maxi case, where the lugs, they thinned down the lugs, and they made this width to be 21 millimeters, so you see more of a nicer taper, whereas in this generation you actually see more of that case size, which I'm going to show you a wrist shot so you can actually see how it looks like on the wrist, because you got this, we call this the maxi size case for all people calling it. So if you look at the watch here, it's a handsome piece, a beautiful piece, ceramic bezel, okay, with the platinum or white gold inserts, I believe. I understand that all these surrounds and the hands, the hour, minutes, you know, are all made in your precious metal, white gold as well, and there's plenty of lume over here. I'm going to show you a lume shot of how it looks like. You know, it has the chroma light. It's not as bright, but it will have the nice blue color tinge, and it lasts longer as well. You got the 4 lines of text, Submariner, and with a depth rating of 300 meters water resistance. So this is a proper dive watch. So let's talk about dimensions of the case which I'm going to put it up on screen here. So it's a 40mm case size, okay? And if you count the lug to lug, which is over here, lug tip to lug tip over here, it is a 48mm, and the lug width for this is 20mm. Yeah, of course, if you look at the side as well, there's a bit of an arch over here. So you see this end link over here comes out a little more, which makes the true lug to lug size a little wider than 48mm, probably about 51mm, very similar to the Yachtmaster as well. So let's talk about first of all, the bezel. Now, one thing I really love about the Rolex Submariner, I've mentioned it in many of my videos and other videos, is really, you hear that? Man, I can make an ASMR video of this. The wonderful clickety sound of this unidirectional bezel. And like I said, not many watch companies can challenge this type of feeling that you get operating a dive bezel. It just oozes luxury and class. I think that is the number one thing I like about the Rolex Submariner. Okay, so you have this black color ceramic bezel, so it's very impervious to scratches. You're not going to see any scratches on that, and it's actually very easy to grip as well. They've got this very sharp lines, and of course this watch is in pretty much brand new condition. It's never been polished, so you do feel it, and it's very easy to grip. I believe if you have gloves, things like that, it'll be easy to use as well. And of course the matte dial, the matte black dial here, which interesting enough doesn't have any anti-reflective coating, but because of the how modern this, I mean, this is a modern dive watch. I don't think these watches are really used for diving anymore. They can be, but let's put it this way, these are over-engineered luxury timepieces. That's what it is, an over-engineered luxury timepiece, and that's exactly what the Rolex Submariner has become. And it is sort of like a status symbol. People don't really buy this because they want to dive with it anymore. It's not really a tool watch per se. It still has it, but it's over-engineered. The problem with that I have with this generation of Rolex Submariners is, some of reviewers say you lose a bit of the soul in it, because it's so clinical, it's so perfect, which is not the fault of Rolex in any way. It's just such a perfect watch. It's so iconic. It's really hard to beat. So let's go through some of the things about the case. So you can see the case over here. You got a high polish over at this side, and of course if you look down here, you can see the crown with the 3 dots as well, and the Rolex crown, and you have the brush finish all around. So this is a more toolsy way. You can see the brush finishing that goes downwards over here, and of course we're going to talk about the clasp in a second. So if you really look at the case at the side, you can see where the Tudor Black Bay line of watches get the inspiration from, and that's why they're so popular, because you can see this design language that goes through, which is very, very straight over here with a slight curve, but not a claw like the Yachtmaster ones. And of course you have this part that comes out at the back. So that's how the design of the iconic oyster case for the Rolex Submariner has been, and it's something that they carried over. So if you turn it around, you can see this is the wonderful clasp. It has this reassuring click. I think that for what it is and the way it's engineered, it wears well even on small wrists. Now this is very contrary to a Black Bay, for example, the Black Bay series and the Black Bay 58, I might add, where they didn't really design the clasp as well as a Rolex. I have no idea why. It doesn't sit as well as this one, but no problems for the Rolex Submariner, even on the 6-inch wrist like mine. As you can see, it looks very, very well and very, very nice as well. So one of the things about this class is so, it is the legendary class. Okay, it is a legendary sizing, and everyone talks about the Rolex Oyster bracelet. Let me just show you how it clicks over here. You can adjust the sizing. I don't think you really need to adjust this much. I'm recording this from the country of Malaysia, and we have hot weather pretty much all year round, and the owner of this watch, our you know, has never really need to adjust the micro adjust at all, even during hot times. And you know, I don't think it's really necessary, but probably if you're diving, it would be necessary to do so. So you got this over engineered class, everything looks fantastic as well. And of course, you know, what else is there more to say about this watch? If you are there to buy a Rolex Submariner, you don't have to watch this video, because you're gonna buy the Rolex Submariner. One of the things that people buy these watches for is because it's so iconic, it's hard to get. The other reason why people buy this watch is probably because of the resale value or the investment value. If you can get it off the authorized distributor, I doubt it so, unless you've been buying lots of watches. If you're buying this on the pre-owned market though, you know, it's probably very overpriced. But if you like it, you're gonna go for it anyway. So yeah, there you go. So let me show you a wrist shot before I end it. So this is how it wears on a 6-inch wrist. Okay, size right wrist. Notice how it comes out over there. This is a little float that you get, the Submariner, which I don't really like about this case, and also similar to the Black Bay 58 as well. But the Clasp side is okay, it's really comfortable. You know, it's a beautiful watch. And of course, yeah, you know, if you can collect one of these, you know, go for it and enjoy this watch.